studios here at CATV6 and RobinHoodRadio.com. Welcome to the only show that has 100% of the precincts in, Simply Sports. My name is Andy Williams. Thank you for tuning in. February the 5th. Yes, I did have to say that. I apologize to you, but anyway. Yeah, I knew I'd get great humor from my producer in the back. So, but anywho, we've got a lot on the plate today, and today, ladies and gentlemen, we're having a 1-hour show. You may ask why we are having a 1-hour show. Well, there are a number of reasons. Number one, and the big reason, right here, Jump Fest 2020. Special guest over here. Peer him over. Possibly.
Sorry, your camera's locked.
Oh, my camera's locked. Okay. But Willie Hallahan is here in studio, ready to rock and roll. And we will be talking about the ski jumps. We're going to be talking about the Super Bowl. And ladies and gentlemen, we got him? The other way. There he is, right there.
Right there.
Wave. There it is.
That's what happens when we're live, you know.
Exactly.
All
Yes.
the clowns here in the place pretending to be TV people.
Exactly. So, we're going to talk Super Bowl. We're going to talk about what the heck happened in Major League Baseball, the free agency market, last night. And some big doings last night, and what changed the landscape of Major League Baseball last night. Today also is a very special day. It marks two very special landmarks for me personally. Number one, this is the 3-year anniversary of this show right here, Simply Sports. So I'm very happy about that. More importantly, today you have tuned in to the 100th episode on CATV6. So that is another reason why this show is going to be an hour long today. So, I guess I should start with probably, first, happy birthday to my friend Lydia, and happy birthday to my boss, Eric Cyprus, first and foremost. I guess I should talk about a little thing called the Super Bowl, right? Yeah. Super Bowl 54 has come and gone, and here's what I could say about this, ladies and gentlemen. The Kansas City Chiefs did not win this game. The San Francisco 49ers blew it. Do not sit up here and say otherwise. Now look, I give total props to the Kansas City Chiefs for what they did. But for 50 minutes of that game, the Kansas City Chiefs got dominated. By the way, before I forget and go any further, to get a hold of me live here in the studio, 860-824-4200, 860-824-4200 to come in live with me in the studio. I would love to hear your opinions. This was another Kyle Shanahan choke job. For the second time in 4 Super Bowls, did it as the offensive coordinator with the Falcons, up 28-3 against the Patriots. You all know what happened after that. Up 20-10 with 9.5 minutes to go. Dominating the offensive side, dominating the defensive side. Because let's face it, Patrick Mahomes did nothing. You could make the argument he didn't really do a heck of a lot during the game, except for those last 9.5 minutes. In fact, you could make the argument that Patrick Mahomes should not have been the MVP of Super Bowl 54. I can make the argument that the running back, Damian Williams, was the MVP of the Super Bowl. Because he rushed for more than 100 yards and totaled for 2 touchdowns in that game. But you're up 20-10 in the Super Bowl. 9.5 minutes left. All you have to do is go down, and this is coming off a turnover. Coming off of one of the worst throws that Patrick Mahomes has thrown all season long. And all they had to do was go down the field and even just kick a field goal. And the game's over. I'm having a different conversation. I'm talking about the San Francisco 49ers as one of the best teams to win the Super Bowl. And having their 6th championship in team history. But instead, we're talking about Kyle Shanahan. And how he coached absolutely scared the entire 4th quarter of that game. They stopped running the football. God, they're picking up 5 yards at a clip. Those 2 running backs. And all they did for that 4th quarter is they ran the ball a grand total of 3 times. 3 times. When the Falcons were up 28-3 on the Patriots, in that second half, they ran the ball 9 times. So now, during regulation time in the 4th quarter and overtime, Kyle Shanahan has been outscored 52-0 in those 2 Super Bowls. 52-0. That is an embarrassment. And I'm telling you right now, run the football. That's it. That's all you had to do. That's all they had to do. But instead, being the glitz and the glamour, you got to come in on a white stallion coming down the stretch. No. You milk the clock. And you could see it in the last 9 minutes of that game that Kyle Shanahan coached absolutely scared. And Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce and those boys saw it. They saw and they smelt blood. And the game was over right there. I do not agree with Patrick Mahomes being the MVP. I don't. I'm sorry. You could tell me different. You could say otherwise, but don't agree. No. It should have been Damian Williams, the running back. You run for over 100 yards, you score 2 touchdowns. That's your MVP. Now, if the Niners would have won, I'm sure they would have said, oh my God, Jimmy Garoppolo is the MVP. No. You give it to Nick Bosa, the defensive end. That's who had the game. That's who made Patrick Mahomes' life absolutely miserable. And what about Richard Sherman? The all-pro corner, Mr. Shutdown. He was targeted 5 times in that game. His receiver caught the ball all 5 times. times and coupled for more than 125 yards receiving. That's your shutdown corner? I'm sorry, the Niners don't have an excuse on this one. Kansas City didn't win this game. Let's keep that in mind. San Francisco blew it. 860-824-4200, 860-824-4200. That's how you get a hold of me live in this studio as we speak. So what do I give the overall grade of the Super Bowl? I thought it was an A. I thought it was a fantastic game. I thought the commercials were, they were pretty good. I love the Bill Murray commercial. I loved, what else was there? The Doritos commercial was okay. My favorite one was the Mountain Dew commercial. The Jack Nicholson impression. I forgot the name of the movie. It eludes me. The Shining, thank you. Where he hands the lady the Mountain Dew, and I thought that was the best one. I thought the halftime show was fantastic. Absolutely. I say overall, it was a very, very good Super Bowl. The game, the entertainment, and the advertising. I thought the whole thing, all mixed, it was a good watch. It really was. So that's where I stand on the Super Bowl. Major League Baseball last night. This blew my mind. So basically I'm at Pool League last night. And, I get the random ESPN and other alerts on my phone. And lo and behold, I look down at my phone, and what do I see? And I had to look at it 3 different times and read the story, but oh my gosh. As of last night, Mookie Betts and left-handed pitcher David Price are now a member of the Los Angeles Dodgers. And this, I knew the Red Sox were trying to move, excuse me, were trying to move Mookie Betts to clear out cap space, but because they were going to go way over the luxury tax this year. But to the Dodgers? Really? Why? Wouldn't you send him to a team like, I don't know, Kansas City? Chicago? The White Sox? I mean, they got him right, they got it right, sending him to a National League team. But for the love of God, don't give it to a team that should have won the World Series back-to-back years. And it's just, it blew my mind. It absolutely blew my mind. And now, you look at the landscape now of Major League Baseball. You now have, in the National League, you did have Washington, still with all the pieces and all the pitching, they were the favorite. But now, the Los Angeles Dodgers Kershaw, David Price, Bueller, a Cy Young candidate, and you? And the last young pitcher, and a fifth? Oh my gosh. What? Tell me who is going to beat the Dodgers in the National League this year. How's it going to happen? It's not. And you have the and it's looking more and more like you're going to see the New York Yankees and the Los Angeles Dodgers in the World Series this year. In fact, you know what? I'll even go on record to say it. February 5th, 2020. Pitchers and catchers haven't even reported yet. I'll say it right now. The New York Yankees versus the Los Angeles Dodgers in the World Series 2020 in October. Real quick note also, before I get into Jump Fest, why we're here today. The Knicks have gotten rid of Steve Mills, their president. When I saw this, I almost did a standing backflip. It was great. It was fantastic. They've gotten rid of one of the evil three-headed monster. One of them. Now they got to get rid of the other two, the two-headed monster. Their GM, and also Jimmy Dolan. James Dolan has got to get rid of that team. They got to sell them. So James Dolan is the reason why this team is failing. And all the fans, they don't like him. James Dolan can sell the team for over $1 billion easy. So
I think there should be a call.
there should be a call. Hello, Simply Sports. You are live with Andy Williams.
Andy, how you doing, bud? It's Brian Oler calling.
Hey, Brian Oler. How are you, sir?
I'm good. Happy 100th episode.
Hey, thank you very much, Brian. That means a lot.
I'm proud of you, man. You've really taken this show to new heights, and I'm glad you stuck with it. And it's glad to see the response that it's getting.
Well, thank you, Brian. That means a lot coming from you, and I'm glad to say that you're one of the reasons why I am on this show, and one of the reasons why this show keeps going. And again, I appreciate your support, and I appreciate your family's support, and it means the world to me. It really does. So again, from the bottom of my heart, thank you very much.
Well, it's the least we can do. You're a wealth of knowledge, bud, and I would never bet my hand against anyone with about the amount of sports knowledge that you have, and it's nice to see what you're doing. And I hope to see you in Salisbury this weekend. I'll be over at the ski jumps and making some other stops, so I hope we run into each other.
All right. Thank you very much, Brian, for the phone call.
You bet. All the best.
All right. Bye-bye. Brian Oler, ladies and gentlemen. He is going to be at Jump Fest 2020, 860-824-4200, 860-824-4200 is how you reach me live here in studio. And now, without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Jump Fest 2020 is this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, February 7th, 8th, and 9th. Ladies and gentlemen, pan the camera over, ladies and gentlemen. Willie Hallahan. Willie, thank you for joining me.
Thanks for having me on.
All right, Willie.
By the way, congratulations on your milestone. That's great.
Thank you very much. I do appreciate.
Longevity is not something you see much anymore.
Well, thank you very much.
By the way, I'd like to see that standing backflip too.
Oh yeah, well I do. Well, I mean, I'll be honest with you. In the last 5 weeks, I have made a New Year's resolution, and I have lost 25 pounds, so I mean, it's just something to work with there. But anyway, we're not here to talk about me trying to do a standing backflip, as much as all the viewers would love to see me do a standing backflip, and my producer as well. But I'd probably break my neck and break my ankle. But anyhow, Salisbury ski jumps, 94 years. Speaking of longevity, 94 years. I mean, just.
It's crazy, and it still blows my mind that you don't have to travel too far from downtown Salisbury, and people still haven't heard of us. That's probably my fault in part, because I'm supposed to be spreading the word throughout the land about.
No.
But you know, seriously, up in this, we're the quiet corner of the state, and lots of people don't know about us. I think we had a good run at getting the word out, social media especially. There's a lot of buzz about us this year, and we're hopeful for nice crowds. It should be. You know, it's crunch time. You know, we're moving snow pretty much as we speak right now. They started to put the snow on the towers, the big tower, the 70 meter, and also the 30. This is by design. We wait till the last minute. We make our snow, we stockpile it, we put it in a big pile to guard against inclement weather, warm weather and rain. We keep it longer and better than if we spread it out as we made it. And then at the very last minute, which is now, we start spreading it around. We truck it up to the base of the towers and start the process of putting the snow on the in-run. And the in-run is the ramps that the skiers come down. It takes a bunch of manpower and takes several hours. And one of the reasons we wait till the last second is that we don't want Mother Nature messing with it. Once that snow's in place and packed down, we screed it almost like concrete if you're building a sidewalk. That's pretty much what we do. And it needs to harden up, and then we cut the tracks in it. We cut the 2 grooves in it that the skis fit in. The skiers aren't coming down on a squirrely surface. Their skis are locked into these grooves. It's a very critical part of the operation, and it's all we control that as much as we can, and to do that we wait till the last second, and so that the elements don't interfere if possible.
Fingers crossed, yes.
Fingers crossed.
Absolutely. I mean, it just, and this is something, this is kind of and I hate to say it's kind of like a curse. Like most years, like one year you get beautiful weather, but yet there's 35-mile-an-hour winds and it's -20 out. The next year it's like a snowstorm, and then the next year it's 50 degrees and there's like 3 inches of rain. I mean, it just.
I know it, and it's a self-imposed curse, I guess you'd have to say. As I like to say, putting on 3 days of outdoor events in February in New England, what could possibly go wrong? And it seems something always challenges us. Last year we lost Friday night to rain. The year before that we didn't really lose Sunday, but it was impaired by a blizzard. The year before that, as you say, Sunday morning it was 20 below zero.
Yeah.
People still come.
Absolutely.
Maybe in smaller crowds, but people will endure almost anything to come watch the jumps. And we have some other challenges coming up. I won't lie to you, but the last I knew, President Kenny Barker is optimistic that all systems are go. You watch the weather, and whether it's the European model or whatever model that is predicting the weather, we don't know. We can't. All we can do is move forward like everything is in place, and it is at the moment. Absolutely.
And again, the manpower that goes into this. I mean, once Jump Fest 2019 ends. Already, you're already thinking about this week already. It's just that's how much manpower is going into this event this year, 2020.
No, it's absolutely true. And in this 11th hour that we're in now, that's when the biggest concentration of manpower and machine power takes place. So much has to be done in such a short period of time, and we'll have 24 men crawling all over the place, shoveling, packing, our new machinery. Last winter we bought a new, when I say new, we always get used. We can't afford the brand new version of these things, but we bought a snow grooming machine, a piston bully, the oddly named machine that grooms the snow. We move it around. It's got a bulldozer element and a grooming element. That has done more for us in terms of saving manpower than you can imagine. We had a 1978 Thiokol that I think was given to us maybe by Mount Snow that we've used all these years in the past. We'd patch it up so it didn't when it broke down, and it would only move snow about a third of the way up the landing hill, and the other 2/3 were all man-groomed, packed. We get the Salisbury Boys School ski team there, and they'd pack it, and then they'd rake it, and it was quite a process. This one we have now has a winch capability, so it pulls the machine all the way up to the top, so the machine can do 90% of the grooming now. But there's still shoveling and so forth to be done, and it still requires a lot of people. But yeah, and we're on track. You know, it's a typical year. It also surprises me that people still think that natural snow plays a role in what we do, and it really doesn't. It would be great to have snow throughout the land. It'd be great to have snow on the ground so people look out the windows and they see snow, and they might be more enthusiastic about indulging in winter events. That's unfortunate because that definitely affects us. We do not use natural snow at the jumps, though. Everything we use is man-made. We prefer man-made snow. It has a higher water content. It's easier to pack down. People might not realize it, but the landing hill is groomed and packed so hard that it's like your desk countertop. It's as smooth and as hard as that. And the reason for that is these kids are landing at 50 miles an hour on the landing hill. And we want the friction to be as minimal as possible.
Yeah.
And their work isn't done yet either. As soon as they touch down, they also have to land properly for points. So anything that interferes with that process is both a safety problem and it affects their chances of success. If we have a dusting of snow before the jumps, it has to be removed. If we have an inch of powder, you would think that it's as feathery and as fleet. That would cause a friction we don't want the kids to experience. So if we have an inch of powder the night before an event, we blow it off. If there's a foot of snow, it has to be shoveled off. We've had that happen in years past. 24 men shoveling a foot of snow off a landing hill that's 300 plus feet long. Natural snow is not as important to us at the ski hill as temperatures. We need below 28 degrees to make snow. And we use every second of those temperatures to make it when we can. It's funny when you're thinking about what the temperatures have been like the last few weeks. You say, "Oh, it's been like spring." Well, it has in the daytime, but at night it gets down cold enough so we make snow. And we made 2 mountains of it. And right now they're in the process of shoveling that around.
860-824-4200, 860-824-4200. That's where you can get a hold live in the studio with myself and the head of the Salisbury Winter Sports Association, Willie Hallahan. Willie, give us a brief history of the Salisbury Winter Sports Association. Once again, 94 years. And also give our viewers a brief history of the Salisbury ski jumps in general.
First of all, though, I'm not the head of SWASA. I'm just one of 18 directors.
Okay.
We have. It takes a village.
Yes, it does. Oh, absolutely, 100%.
Yes, the 94th year of ski jumping here in Salisbury. It started back in 1926. Paul Satry, after whom the hill is named. It's the John Satry. Did I say Paul? It's John Satry Memorial Hill. Moved to Salisbury from Norway. He was looking for work and found it in the town. And nobody really knew it at the time. No one had really seen ski jumping anyway back in the 20s. It was practiced out in the Midwest, I guess, and places here and there, but back in those days it was a new sport and people didn't know much of it. But John Satry was one of the best Nordic skiers in the world. nobody knew it. And one day during the winter, he climbed up on a barn roof in the wintertime, skied off the edge, landed safely, and everybody was so amazed. They ended up building a small jump, started practicing it, and then from then on, it's evolved to what it is today. We rebuilt our tower in 2010, a state-of-the-art junior Olympic style tower and landing hill that allows us to hold the junior nationals now every 5 years. So it's been quite an evolution. And in that time, ski jumping itself has gone through a bunch of changes. The heyday, so to speak, was in the 50s and 60s. We held national events here back in those days. And then in 1980, the NCAA was even a college sport. And then in 1980, the NCAA dropped it as a college sport, said it was too dangerous. And that could have rung the death knell of ski jumping. That meant that when kids could have gone on to get college scholarships to continue ski jumping, now they didn't have that. So if you had reached 18 years old, you're a high school senior, you don't have any chance of making an Olympic team, because that's all there was at this point. You pretty much dropped the sport. And it hurt the sport, but it endured. It's always been an Olympic sport. We all watched it on the wide world of sports, and it's ebbed and flowed. Nordic sports are on an upswing the last few years because Americans have had some success in the Olympics. And that matters. It matters all the way down to the junior level. There was a period when we didn't have junior jumpers at all in Salisbury, and now we have quite a few. We've got 12, 18. That's a lot in a sport like ski jumping.
Absolutely.
You know, it'd be pathetic for soccer or baseball, but in a quirky sport like ski jumping, if you can get over 12 kids to participate, that's huge. And we have a very active group. Last year, Seth Gardner was the first local kid to go off the big tower in years.
Yeah.
So we're proud of what we're doing, and basically that's our mission. People think that SWAS is there to put on the ski jumps. Well, that's almost secondary. Our main mission is to teach kids to ski, to jump, cross country, downhill, and to provide facilities, scholarships, what have you, so that kids in our area can experience those winter sports.
And that's just absolutely great. I mean, it really is for what the Salisbury Winter Sports Association does, not just within this week, but what it does throughout the community and what it does throughout the towns. You know, just brings everybody together.
Yeah.
And it's like a modern day. It's like our little Olympic village, you could say. For that week.
It is, and we're grateful, first of all, for the support we get from the community. It's crazy, and we're so grateful for that. And we've been at it so long that we're kind of interwoven into the town's identity. It goes back that far. And when we talk about our origins, that John Satry, who came to town, if all he had been is a great ski jumper, it wouldn't have been enough to have what we have today. What made it different was he was a great teacher too. Mm. His brothers came along. There were like 5 of them in all. They were all future ski jumping Hall of Famers. They were all future gold medal winners in the Olympics, and they were great teachers. They're the ones who taught the likes of Roy Sherwood, a local boy who went on to be an Olympian himself. And he in turn taught jumpers like Larry Stone, almost lost that, who went on to a 25-year coaching career up at Lake Placid. So there's been a tradition of ski jumping, but also teaching to help the next generation along. Absent that teaching element, we probably wouldn't have ski jumping in Salisbury today.
Now, you'd mentioned too also about the Junior Olympics, how they have come to. When is the next Junior Olympics? Because that's got to be coming up soon.
Next year.
Next
It's
year.
Junior Nationals, what they call it now. The International Olympic Committee took umbrage with it being called the Junior Olympics. So it's the Junior Nationals, but the same thing. We host it every 5 years, and next year will be our third time hosting it. We hosted it for the first time the year we rebuilt the tower. That's what allowed us. It also gave us the extra incentive to raise the $800,000 it took us to build it. But the powers that be said, you build that tower and then you can start hosting the Junior Nationals. It's every 5 years because there are 5 districts. We're the eastern one, and then there's 4 others, sort of like the time zones, I guess, including Anchorage. And so every 5 years we host it, and I can't believe it, but next year will be the third time. And we put on quite a show. I mean, the first year we did it, we basically modeled it after the opening ceremonies of the Olympics. We had a parade of athletes. We had a flame that was sat on the green of the White Hart, an Olympic torch, and the people who had been to 25 junior national events in the past said it was the most outrageous thing they've ever seen. Well, we did it not knowing what we were doing, but we put our all into it as we do for everything else we do at SWASA. And it was quite the spectacle. The kids loved it, and I think we had 80 athletes that came from around the country.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a big deal. And the connection the junior nationals have with Jump Fest is that on Sunday of Jump Fest, that's the big day. That's the most critical day for the jumpers themselves, because they're looking to find a place on the junior national team. And how they do will determine that. And then that junior national team for the East is named after Jump Fest is over. It's kind of a nice honor for Salisbury to be the place where they name the team. So, yeah, and it's a big deal. It's a big deal for the jumpers. It's a big deal for us. It's the day of our biggest crowd, weather permitting, and yeah, it's quite the weekend. You know, from Friday night through Sunday, we've got lots going on.
860-824-4200, 860-824-4200. That's where you can get a hold of myself and my guest, Willie Hallahan, member of Salisbury Winter Sports Association. Okay. Jump Fest this week, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Give us the rundown.
Sure.
Friday is probably one of, well, I mean, they're all popular days, but I mean, Friday is just, it's a fun night.
It's a fun night.
Let's put it that way.
Let's talk. Each day has a different personality.
Absolutely.
And Friday night is the fun rock and roll night of the three. Of course, the whole facility is lit up. It's at night. The jumpers almost have a night off. It's their fun night for them.
And I don't mean to cut you off right there. When did the jumps get lights? Around what time?
Well, we bring in portable lights.
Okay.
We lit up we put up lights a couple of years ago on the big hill, and I think we bring in additional lights just because we need that to light up the whole facility. It takes those genset lights. We put up a set of lights for the junior hills a couple of years ago. It cost about $25,000 to set up so our kids could jump in the evenings.
Sure.
They're jumping in the wintertime. It still gets dark fairly early, so they get out of school, they come over and they can jump till 7 or 8 at night. So that's why we did that. But I would say our year-round lighting is pretty good, but we just add to it for the Friday night Jump Fest.
Yeah.
Anyway, the kids, it's a fun night for them. It's called target jumping. We paint a big bullseye on the landing hill, and they do their best to land in the bullseye, and the closest one gets prize money. It's fun for them. And then after that's over, it's about 8:30 or so, the human dog sled race. And this was devised by Kenny Barker, our president. He saw it done someplace else. If you Google it, you only find it in like Lowell, Mass, and out in Michigan and in Switzerland, at least in a formal, organized way. And this is a crowd favorite. I would say that at least half of the crowd that comes Friday night are coming just for that, because it's wild. These are 6-person teams, 3 divisions, male, female, and mixed. And 5 people are pulling a 6th person on a sled that the teams themselves design. And the sleds can be as simple as an inner tube or a plastic sled, or they can be really elaborate. I know the Falls Village volunteer firemen and the ambulance people each built a miniature ambulance and fire truck one year. They weren't very aerodynamic, but I think one of them won the People's Choice Award. So. And it's a fun time. You have to be, and by the way, if you're of a mind you'd like to get into it, we'll accept teams right up to the last minute. Find 5 of your friends and put together something simple. As like I say, an inner tube and a rope that you can hold on to is all you really need. You should have some level of fitness. We call it a 0.3 mile course. We're not exactly sure what it is. Basically, we use the outrun of the ski jump, the area where after the jumpers land, they come to a stop. It's about 100 yards long, and it's an out and back. It's a downhill followed by an uphill. You're running on packed snow, but it gets chopped up pretty quickly. So, yeah, it helps if you have some level of fitness. And it's also not without some risk. You can fall down.
Oh yeah.
And sometimes if the worst happens, you might get run over by your sled, which if it's an inner tube, that's not so bad. But
Right. But if it's like one of my favorite teams that I know is going to be in the Vikings. If you get run over by the Viking ship, then that's not going to end up so well.
No, that isn't. And they've changed their sled over the years. It used to be the front half of a wooden canoe, and last time it was, I think, almost a cardboard structure, and it kind of self-destructed somehow. Anyway, it's a crowd favorite. We got Dale Jones there, who's our jump announcer. He's right in the middle of it, calling the race, and it's just a gas. Everybody loves it. So that's Friday night. Target jumping, followed by the human dog sled race. I think we've got a pretty good field already. I think we might have 7 or 8 teams already. We've had as many as a dozen, and that'd be great. Saturday becomes a serious jumping for the kids. That's the Salisbury Invitational. That's our own tournament, prestigious one. Major trophies are at stake, and the kids are motivated to jump well and tune up for the following day. Saturday night is the snowball at the White Hart. Been back at the White Hart for a few years, where it traditionally was forever, and it's just a perfect venue for the snowball. There are raffles. There's a silent auction that benefits Eastern Ski Jumping. That's our governing body here in the East, and the Steve Dunn Band is playing. It's just a good time. People spread out all over the place. There's usually a big crowd, and basically take over the inn.
Yeah.
Spill out onto the porch, into the lobby, and everybody just has a good time.
And tickets for the snowball are
$15. Everything is $15 a person for adults. Children 12 and under are free always.
Yes.
It's a generous program for kids because we want to get kids to see ski jumping.
Absolutely.
And maybe decide to try it out.
Yeah.
And then Sunday is the big day. That's the Eastern U.S. Ski Jumping Championships. And as I said, there's a lot at stake there. These kids can make the junior national team if they do well. Records can be broken on that day.
Mm-hmm.
If they're going to be broken, it's likely that day that happens. And it's high quality jumping. It's where we typically get our biggest crowd. And one of the things that surprises me, every year I talk to people who've always lived around here who've never been to the jumps. They just never made it. And I say, you got to go once. These are the people who say, I used to watch it on Wide World of Sports if they're of a certain age, or they've watched the Olympics. I said, if you haven't seen it live, you just haven't witnessed ski jumping.
Right.
These kids are, some of them as young as 12. are jumping close to 200 feet through the air. They're landing at 50 miles an hour plus. The fans go wild. The crowd really gets into it. They ring their cowbells, and it's a fun atmosphere. I think people are aware once they get there that they're witnessing something special, and they react accordingly. It's just I walk through the crowds. I make it a point every year just to get a feel for it, and it's always so upbeat, and people are having fun, and they're always thanking us on the way out, and we'll see you next year, kind of thing. So, just the more people we can get coming for the first time, I know that they'll be coming back.
February 7th, 8th, and 9th, Jump Fest 2020. I'm going to hold the brochure up one more time. There it is. As you zoom in and zoom back out, there it is. Willie, thank you very much. I
Thank you,
appreciate
Andy, for having me on.
Absolutely. Oh, before I forget, my gosh, you have a website too, Sporting a Cause.
Oh, well, thank you so much.
Sporting a Cause. Willie, since we're here and we got at least, I don't know, about 10, 15 minutes, Sporting a Cause.
Well, thank you so much. Yes. I started a website a couple of years ago, sportingacause.com. That's sporting with an ing. Sometimes it sounds like I'm saying supporting a cause. And the whole premise behind it was to promote sports-related fundraisers in the tri-state area.
Yeah.
Golf tournaments, running events, 5Ks, marathons, polar plunges. That's a bit of a stretch to call it a sport, but close enough. And if it's raising money, that's really what I'm looking to do. The idea of it sort of came about with my work with SWASA. We work with other nonprofits, and they're all scrambling for donation dollars. They're all putting on events, many of them sports related, and there are no advertising budgets to promote them. So I thought, well, let me see what I can do. I do just that. I find out everything I can about them, each event, whether it's a golf tournament or a 5K race. I write it up as if it were a press release, put it on my site, and then promote it and put it on my Facebook, social media. Get on Robin Hood Radio every Sunday morning and talk about upcoming events. So I do everything I can to support these worthy events. All these nonprofits, I like to say it, and SWASA is one of them. We're all in this together. We're all looking for the same donation dollars. We work with each other when we can. Sunday in the Country, for example, does the cooking on Friday night at Jump Fest. And then the Ladies Auxiliary for Lakeville Hose cooks it the other 2 days, and they all glean the benefits of that. We're the site for the Jane Lloyd clam bake, and we use the Jane Lloyd's tents when we hold the brewski. So everybody is helping each other out as best they can. And that's basically the whole idea around my website. If you go to the home page, it looks like a sports site because you see pictures of events, you see upcoming events, you see calendars. But if you read the blogs, that's where I tend to delve more into the nonprofit side of things, to talk about the causes that are benefiting from all these cool sporting events. So yeah, I'm starting my 3rd year in it, and I'm enjoying it. One of the fringe benefits I didn't really realize at the time as I investigate sites is talking to some really wonderful people. The people who have an emotional interest in putting on these events. Lots of times they're honoring loved ones. But I know it's enriched my life since I started it.
Oh, that's wonderful. That absolutely is. And I couldn't help, and thank God before we got cut off there, I had to mention it.
Well,
so,
I appreciate you doing so. Yeah.
All right. Once again, thank you very
All right,
much
Andy.
for being on the air.
Thank you for having me.
Willie Hallahan, ladies and gentlemen, on Simply Sports. I got about 10 minutes left. I had actually a brief story come on the live line whilst I was talking to Willie, and it had to do with golf. Phil Mickelson. Everybody knows he's struggling right now. He has come out just now and said very vocally he will not accept a U.S. Open invite. He would rather play his way onto a spot in the U.S. Open, whether it be via world ranking, winning a golf tournament, that way, instead of accepting a special invite from the USGA. So that was the one story that came across the live line whilst I was talking to Willie. So, wow. Now this is the hard part for me because this is a little bit emotional for me. 3 years. Today actually is the 3-year anniversary of where I took this little tiny show where I literally hold my phone up on the in my room and held it up by a mason jar, and I pretty much talked into it, and it's on Facebook. It was Facebook Live every week. And everybody said that they loved it, and I'm getting likes all over the place. Hi, Tracy Gleason, I see you. And a funny thing happened at the end of 2017. At the end of 2017, that Brian Oler came to me, who actually called earlier and said to me, you know, we should get this on public access television. And I said, what a great idea. I've always dreamt to talk about sports on television and just give my opinions like all the talking heads on all the major networks. So I said, what a great idea. So here I was, 2018, my producer Mike Flint, who I always mention at the end of every show, and he says, well, you know, you need to work on this and you need to work on that. And sure enough, I took his advice, and eventually the show got bigger, and you know, the more social media coverage it got, the more hearsay it got, the more local people came up to me whilst I'm working, and they said, this is great. And trust me, I didn't think that this show would go as long as it did. I didn't. I thought maybe, 30, 40 episodes at most. But, I mean, if it lasted a year, great. But here we are, 2020. I'm having guests on, and my producer, Mike Flint. Mike, come over here a minute, actually.
You gonna get me back?
Yes, I am.
No way.
Oh, come on.
No way.
One time. One time for the camera.
Stay here.
Okay.
Stay here. You don't want me on that side of the camera.
Oh, come on.
Nobody wants that.
Oh, come on. No? All right. Well, my producer, Mike Flint, I couldn't have done this without you. And I mean that. I hope that one day, I know that I'm one of the few live shows that's on CATV6. I would love to see a second show live, and I would love to see Straight Talk Live back on the air. But that's just me. I'm sorry, but I think CATV6 deserves more live shows. And Mike, I do want to thank you for 3 years of putting up with me.
No problem. Been my pleasure.
Thank you.
Besides, your father threatened me.
Oh, stop it. No, he did not.
That was your mother.
No, she did not. To Marshall Miles, without him, from Robin Hood Radio, and also one of the heads of CATV6, without him and his endorsement, this show wouldn't be here, and the station wouldn't be here. And to Brian Oler, without his support, again, you wouldn't see me with this sign. You wouldn't see me with all this nice, fandom. You wouldn't see me with guests. My parents, their support, I'm sorry I'm getting emotional, and most of all, to all of you. All of you that have watched me. Whether it be Facebook, whether it be YouTube, Twitter, television, phoning in, whether it be, hey, you're doing a great job, or hey, you're doing a not so good job, or constructive criticism, or gosh, you have absolutely no hair on the top of your head, and I can see the reflection coming off. And
That's been a problem since the start.
thank you very much. I appreciate that. But this show wouldn't be a part of without any of you. And for 3 years, I always say at the end, 143, and everybody is wondering, well, what the heck is 143? Well, it's a thing I learned off of, corny enough, Mr. Rogers. And the 1 is the 1 letter, I, 4 is the 4 letters, love, and 3 is you. So I say that to everybody as I sign off. And with that, I'm going to sign off today. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for tuning in to the 3-year anniversary and the 100th episode of Simply Sports. Here's to another 100 episodes, fingers crossed, God willing. And make sure you tune in to me on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. I think I've ran out of options for social media. Thank you to Willie Hallahan for coming in, Salisbury Winter Sports Association. Don't forget, Jump Fest this weekend. And for Michael Flint, Marshall Miles, Brian Oler, thank you very much. Here's to another 100 and 1, 4, 3.